Hi everyone, thank you for coming. I'm Mujalinda Zhu and I'm president of Asians United.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm co-vice president of Asians United.
I'm the other co-vice president of Asians United. We just wanted to welcome you all to our assembly. We wanted to let you know that this is a glimpse into the window of our world, and although the display of culture you see before today is a short compilation of hard work by your classmates, it's our everyday lived experience. We hope you take the opportunity to learn what it means to be Asians United. Enjoy, guys. Also, you might have seen in the daily email that we have a bake sale tomorrow. It's pushed back. So our bake sale will be moved to April 1st. Yeah. What? Okay. Over. Enjoy, guys. Thank you for coming.
Our first performance will be a medley that was arranged by our club members, and it introduces popular Asian artists such as Wake to Earth, MXM and Jody. We hope you enjoy this arrangement. Now introducing Kelly Nguyen is a graduate of Hume-Fogg class of 2021 and the school's founder of Asians United. Currently a senior student at Tribeca Nazarene University, working towards a bachelor's degree of business administration in marketing with a minor in economics. We hope to honor what she started as it continues to grow with us.
I am HFA alum at class of 2021, and I am now a senior at Tribeca Nazarene University, graduating this May, and I'm the founder of Asians United. When I was a freshman at Hume-Fogg, I had no idea about any of the clubs. I saw a club like BAU, Salvador Latinx, I think that was their first year as well, and I thought cultural clubs were really cool, and I thought, hey, I should join an Asian one, but there wasn't one, and I noticed Hume-Fogg has a pretty great and diverse Asian population, so I decided my sophomore year to join my friend Esther Y, and we started Asians United with Mr. Collins as a sponsor. I would say enjoy your time in high school, but also work hard, because building a work ethic, like a good work ethic now, is really going to help you in the future, especially because college does get hard and life after that's pretty hard. So build that good work ethic, but also have fun, because for me, I feel like in high school I focused a little too much on my studies that I didn't have a chance to have fun, and in college it's a bit hard to find that balance. I would also say start thinking about your future, because that's really important. Thinking about the future is scary, but I feel like I didn't do that enough. And if you don't, then once you're in college, you're going to be pretty stressed thinking about your future, and you're going to have a lot of worries. So just start thinking about it a little bit now and what you want to do with your life. I definitely think coming from a multicultural background gives you an open mind, because you have the mindset and the culture of your own home country, and then you also have the culture and the mindset of Americans. So being Asian American has taught me to have an open mind. I've been able to teach other people about my culture, learning about other cultures, and that's been really cool. It's also been a bit of a struggle, because then I assume everyone has an open mind, when really they don't. So it's hard to interact with close-minded people, but that's when you just need to push through, learn when you need to step away, but also be able to educate others. And on top of that, right now I'm interning at a multicultural marketing firm, which focuses a lot on inclusion and helping businesses be very inclusive with like diversity and everything. And I think coming from a multicultural background really helps me be more passionate about that. My first goal with Asians United was just to bring together a bunch of Asians from different countries, because Asia is such a large continent that people from East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, everyone is so different that we really need to learn from each other, and it would be really interesting to learn from each other. That was my first goal, just uniting us, and then bringing together people who are even non-Asian who want to learn more about Asian culture and expanding that. And the second goal was having that assembly so that we could teach the whole school about Asian cultures and different Asian heritages. So just spreading the diversity and sharing our love of culture with each other is the main goal. For me, changing my major was unconventional, to me at least, because my cousins and everyone I knew that coming from Asian heritage, they knew what they wanted to do. They just chose something and stuck with it. So when I made that decision to change my major, I actually had a mental breakdown. I thought my parents were going to hate me and be disappointed in me. But when I told them, they actually had a really good response. They wanted me to do something that I wanted to do, something that I would enjoy, and a degree that I would use. And I honestly feel like I got really lucky. I don't think most strict Asian parents would have that same response. But that's just life. Like, if you need to do something for yourself that helps you, like changing your major, like do it. Another thing was I chose to go study abroad in South Korea last semester, and my parents were people who don't like me going away from home that far. It was like really hard to get them to accept me leaving home, especially because I'm from Nashville and I go to school in Nashville. So even for college, I didn't leave home. But I really wanted to take the opportunity to learn more in another country and just immerse myself in a foreign environment. But they also took that pretty well. I could tell at the beginning when I first started applying to that study abroad, they weren't fully happy, but they had an idea that they couldn't really stop me. And in that way, I also feel like I got really lucky with my parents being so understanding. But eventually they came to it, and I saw how much I grew from that experience. So I overcame those stigmas, but I know that can be hard for a lot of people. But like I said, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and you just need to take them sometimes. Yeah, for the future of the club, honestly, so far from what I've seen, you guys have been achieving all the goals that I hoped to achieve when I started the club. The club has grown a lot. Your events look really fun, and it looks like you're teaching a lot of people about Asian culture while having fun as well. I think it would be cool to, like, even if possible, even bring in bigger speakers that, like, maybe, because for me, one that I always thought about having was like the author of Crazy Rich Asians or something, because that was a movie and a book that really like highlighted Asian heritage to the world. I know that's like a really good goal. So not really just that, but just like continually expanding the club, like having more reach, being able to have more opportunities. Like the lunch and learns have been really cool. Bake sales and just having like the Squid Game event, those look really awesome. So just having more fun activities like that so people can learn and have fun at the same time. I would say take any opportunities that come to you, even if you're scared to, because my first big opportunity that I did like by myself, not my parents, was a mission trip I went to with Tribeca all the way to Alaska. That was my first time being away from home so far without my parents, and that was scary for me and for them, but also such like an experience where I felt like I grew up a lot. So Alaska and South Korea, those were like the biggest growth opportunities for me. I think the biggest areas for growth are when you're somewhere uncomfortable. Putting yourself in an uncomfortable but safe position is really going to allow you to grow and learn more about yourself. So just go after those opportunities and just seek to grow always. Because Hume-Fogg is such an academic and prestigious high school, a lot of people thought they needed to go to an Ivy League or somewhere super prestigious in order to show their worth. And I was top 1% in my class, so I had that same thought. And while all of my peers were going to like Ivy Leagues and like Vanderbilt, big colleges like that, I went to Tribeca University, which is a really small Christian college in Nashville. And I, like, deep down, I was like, why am I here? I know I could do better. But my reason was finances. I went to school, I went all the way through college with no debt at all. And I think that's very important, and they don't emphasize that enough in high school. Actually, the first person who told me that was Mr. Caldwell, and I think he was always like, money, 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 and everyone was like, can you please stop talking about money? But really, that's the core of college, because you don't want to come out of college with a degree that you could get somewhere cheaper, and then end up in like $80,000 of debt. I know that's like a crazy thing to think about, but finances are super important in college. Like, just don't be scared to go somewhere just because it's cheaper, even if you think you could do better, because at the end of the day, you're going to come out with a degree, and you're going to have connections and experience, and you're going to end up in that career that you want. For me, I think the biggest Asian stereotype is all Asians are smart, or all Asians are good at math, which honestly, some people are like, isn't that a good thing? But although that can be seen as a good thing, that makes a lot of Asians who might not have all A's, that they don't feel good about themselves. And I think that's a big stigma we need to stay away from, because although being smart's a good thing, we can't generalize a population based on one trait. I don't know if this fully answers the question, but just being able to like stay away from stereotypes like that is very important, especially when you're being inclusive, because that also means maybe people think other races aren't as smart as Asians, and that's also not true, because anyone can be smart as long as they study hard enough and as long as they're passionate about something. I think that impacted me because that stereotype was all around me, and I knew a lot of Asians that were really smart and hardworking and successful, so that made me feel like I really needed to be hardworking, smart and successful, or else I wouldn't be a model minority, I wouldn't truly be Asian. Although I know that's really not true. I think society, especially businesses, can help that by, because my area is marketing, I'm going to refer to that a lot. In marketing and advertisements, when you have someone who's a doctor, they don't always need to be Asian. When you have someone who's studying or super hardworking or a really good student, they do not always need to be Asian. I'm just making sure that you show diverse marketing, like inclusive marketing, showing a bunch of different genders, races, and different people in these roles will help combat, go against that stereotype a lot. And
We are honored to have a special guest today. Joseph Gutierrez has worked for different nonprofit organizations and eventually helped start API Middle Tennessee in 2019, a nonprofit that aims to fight for racial justice by building and uplifting Asian voices. Please welcome him to the stage now.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. We can move to the next slide. I wasn't quite prepared for today and realizing that I was talking to everybody at the school, so I just got more and more nervous while I was standing back there. So just bear with me for a little bit. But my name is Joseph Gutierrez. I'm the Executive Director of API Middle Tennessee, and that's our nonprofit organization. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and both my parents are Filipino immigrants. That's my dog, Donut. She's very sweet. Yeah, I like her a lot. Just thinking about some of the stuff I heard from the video, I was not very good at math. I actually failed pre-calculus twice in high school and ended up majoring in history. And then I went to UCLA, graduated, and then I spent a few years teaching English as a second language, both in South Korea and then here in Nashville. Before starting my career and shifting over to the nonprofit sector and starting API Middle Tennessee. If we can move to the next slide. Our vision, though, is that we envision a Tennessee where Asian and Pacific Islanders are connected and thriving. And for us, that word translates into a few different things, so if we can move to the next slide, I guess. But before getting into a little bit of our work, I just wanted to clarify a little bit, and you've probably all heard some of this a little bit, but who do we mean by Asian and Pacific Islanders? And I think it's very important because you have a lot of acronyms, right? Like AAPI, we use API, AANHPI. What does that all mean? But typically when we refer to Asian Pacific Islanders, we look at East Asia. This is probably what most people think of in the American consciousness about Asia. So East Asia is like China, Japan, Korea. Southeast Asia, which includes Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines. South Asia would be India, Pakistan, so what people would think about the Indian subcontinent. There are also some global definitions that talk about West Asia, and this is what people would probably think of as the Middle East. And that's used in a few, World Health Organization uses that definition, but we typically don't use West Asia as a term, recognizing that Middle Eastern, North African is probably a better ethnic distinction. Then we're talking about Pacific Islanders, right? Samoa, Guam, and then Native Hawaiians, right? So it's really important to recognize both, indigenous populations that live in Hawaii. We'll move to the next slide. Quick facts about Asian and Pacific Islanders here in the state of Tennessee. We have over 180,000 Asian and Pacific Islanders living in the state. And that's really important to recognize that it's also kept pace with the growth of the Tennessee region, or Middle Tennessee region, so it's one of the fastest growing demographics. So if you really look at not just Nashville, but if you look at Clarksville, Montgomery County, and Rutherford County, our Asian populations are actually growing a lot faster in those cities too, right? According to the latest census projections, Clarksville is supposed to be 17% Asian by 2040. Just by economic growth. It's really interesting to see that, we're outstripping just kind of growth for the region too. The largest populations are Indian, Chinese, Filipino, Vietnamese. Japan, I think, falling into fifth. It's also important to know that Asian Pacific Islander immigrants are twice as likely to start businesses and contribute to local economies. And I think that's a really big deal about thinking about economic growth for the region too. If you didn't know, Tennessee's largest international investment is actually from Japan. And we have a Japanese consulate here. And it's not just big for the state of Tennessee, we're the second largest investment in the entire country. So California's first, and then it's Tennessee from investment from Japanese companies. So when you think about Nissan, Bridgestone, and all those companies coming here, and what that kind of means for local growth and jobs. The other kind of thing that is important too is that Asian American and Pacific Islander voters are very undecided when they go to the polls, right? Recognizing that it's a large group of people and interests are very different, but they're also very in the middle of being kind of swing voters. So that's kind of the quick facts, we'll move to the next slide. Here's our work. This is kind of the fun part and the way I think about us as a nonprofit. So we do a lot of community building work. So we do host like Asian and Pacific Islander nights with a few different organizations, with the Nashville Predators, the Nashville Sounds, Nashville Soccer Club. We do a lot of voice kind of work, and for us that means getting people to the polls and making sure that we're voting. If you didn't know, Tennessee is dead last in voter turnout, so really important about addressing that. And we also do some general advocacy work, so a lot of our advocacy work is focused on language access. So really excited, we just beat down a bill that would require all English or driver's license tests to be administered in English, so really excited about that, because that would create barriers for opportunities just to drive. And we do a lot of education work, making sure that education is inclusive, that fighting against book bans and stuff like that too. And then our last work is, we celebrate identities and really think about all the arts and culture kind of work too. You can move to the next slide. When I think about our work, and this is probably the main question I get asked a lot, or a lot of our work kind of really tries to address, is that, how does someone meaningfully engage with, and how do we also share Asian and Pacific Islander culture? And for us, it's a lot of like cultural translation work, but we'll move to the next slide, and like this is kind of where we started, is that we started with a More Than a Menu campaign. And we really wanted to push people to recognize, that we're greater than the food that you're eating. And we started with a restaurant campaign. That was kind of what we were looking at too. Because we recognize in the state of Tennessee, someone might not know anybody that's Thai or like Laotian, except for like when they go to the restaurant. And really thinking about that's how they consume our culture. And really thinking that's the place where people meet. And I think that's so beautiful because, right, like who here has had like Asian food in the past month? Raise your hand. That's a lot of people, right? Right? And so that's great, right? I love Asian food. I love all kinds of Asian food. This is a meal my wife made with some of her friends, right? Like a Korean dish. And I think about, what that kind of looks like and how can we break bread over this table and think about the culture, people, and history behind the food that you eat, right? So really recognizing that, and I think this is a lot for Asian culture is about how it gets consumed in America. And it's not just food, right? Like, so we're thinking about, go to the next slide, we're more than blank. And I think, how do you all experience Asian culture, right? Like, so we're more than K-pop, we're more than the ramen bowl in front of you, we're more than a lot of different things, right? Like, so I think it's really important that when you really think about what you're consuming in the media and the cultural representations that you see, that you're taking the time to really think beyond that, right? Take a second, pull out your phone, look up the history of things that you're doing, right? Like when you're at a Thai restaurant or at like a Laotian restaurant, maybe spend the time just figuring out about the dish that you're seeing. And then maybe you'll find out, a lot of the Thai restaurants here in Tennessee are actually Laotian owned. And the reason for that is that Laotian refugees got resettled here in the 1970s. And we have one of the biggest Laotian populations outside of the West Coast, right? Like there are a few different things you can learn by just taking a few seconds to kind of unpacking what you're doing. So with that, I'm out of time, but thank you so much for having me.
Up, Jackie Vincent is singing Glimpse of Us by Joji, accompanied by Gabby Vogt on the piano.
She'd take the world off my shoulders if it was ever hard to move. She'd turn the rain to a rainbow if I was living in the blue. Why then, if she is so perfect, do I still wish that it was you? Perfect don't mean that it's working, so what can I do when you're out of sight in my mind? 'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of us, and I try to fall for her touch, but I'm thinking of the way it was. Said I'm fine, said I moved on. I'm only here passing time in her arms, hoping I'd find a glimpse of us. Tell me he savors your glory. Does he laugh the way I did? Is this a part of your story, one that I had never lived? Maybe one day you'll feel lonely, and in his eyes you'll get a glimpse. Maybe you'll start slipping slowly and find me again when you're out of sight in my mind. 'Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of us, and I try to fall for her touch, but I'm thinking of the way it was. Said I'm fine, said I moved on. I'm only here passing time in her arms, hoping I'd find a glimpse of us. Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of us, and I try to fall for her touch, but I'm thinking of the way it was. Said I'm fine, said I moved on. I'm only here passing time in her arms, hoping I'd find a glimpse of us.
And next up, we have a dance to Magnetic by Islet, a popular Korean pop girl group. Give it up for Korea.
Wait a minute, if you're motivated, listen to me loud.
The Indian classical dance style, Bharatanatyam, is known for its sharp, rhythmic dance cycles and expressive storytelling. Today, Prisha Dash will be performing a semi-classical version of this dance form. The song Mere Dolna roughly translates to the music of my love. The usage of hand gestures will convey the message of longing for one's love when separated from them. We now present India. Now we have a Chinese-based fan dance choreographed by one of our club members. This traditional art form combines flowing movements and fans to tell a story, representing the grace and beauty of Chinese culture. Next, we have Jenny Menjivar and Scarlett Park performing Midas Touch by Kiss of Life.
Oh,